So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. You get back here, BSN Network. This is BSN Network Podcast here today. It is Friday, January 28th. Hope everybody's having a day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Friday, January 28th here today. Coming off another big night last night in the world of sports. And got a lot on tonight. Got a very exciting weekend ahead. Henrik Lundqvist, the guy to my right on the wall, will be retired and will be hung up into the his jersey will be hung up into the rafters tonight at Madison Square Garden. I'm super pumped up. I'm super excited. I'm super thrilled. I am so excited to be a Ranger fan today and so excited to watch the ceremony, watch the game, and really just take it all in as one of the best goaltenders, not only in Ranger history, but one of the best of all time, will be his jersey, number 30, Lonquist, spelt on the back, will be hung up tonight at the MSG Rafters. He will be the 11th Ranger to be put up into the rafters, to be, to be there for the rest of however long. However long MSG is a thing, which I believe will be a very long time. But he will be up in the rafters for as the garden furniture forever, as they're all saying it. And I'm super excited. I'm super pumped up. It's very exciting. It's just, there's a lot of just energy. It's like, can we get to the retirement ceremony already? Because I'm ready for it. So, that we got going on tonight. A packed weekend ahead. Like I said, a good night last night in sport. Not a crazy night. Rangers took a tough loss to Columbus, 5-3. The big storyline coming out of that game is not only is Adam Fox, on the IR now, will be out, for the All-Star break, and you got to hope that he comes back and that he's okay because, without him, this team's just not the same. But in terms of last night's game, look, right, tonight you got a, big night with Henrik Lundqvist and all that stuff, and I just want to tell you this, right, last night, Alexander Georgiev, one of the Rangers' biggest needs is going to need to go out and get a backup goalie. They just need to. Igor Shesterkin is a true number one. He's one of the better ones in the league right now. He's definitely making a name for himself, and he continues to play well each and every game out there. So Igor Shesterkin's no issue, but Igor Shesterkin can't play every single game of the regular season. He's not going to be able to play every single game in the playoffs if we get there, which I assume we will. We're going to have to really fall off in the second half of the season not to make the playoffs. But, with all that stuff, included, we don't have a backup. And you need depth at that position. So the Rangers need to go out and they need to sign somebody, trade for somebody, because Alexander Georgiev is, number one, I don't think just talented enough, and number two, very inconsistent. Because he'll have games where, he's playing well and he's, doing good, and there will also be games where he's all over the place and he's playing bad and he's let up 5 goals to a Columbus team that got shut out on Thursday night or on Wednesday night. So you got to find that balance. You got to figure something out. Rangers took a loss last night. They'll be back in action tonight against the Wild at home back at MSG. Second half of a back-to-back. Start a little bit of a homestand here. They got a home game tonight. Then they'll have a day off tomorrow. Then they'll have a Sunday matinee game, which will be against the Kraken at home as well. Will be my first time watching the Kraken live. I have yet to watch the Kraken. Actually, I take that back. Opening night I did. But I've yet to watch the Kraken against the Rangers, have yet to see the Kraken against the Rangers. This will be, I believe, the Seattle Kraken's first trip to Madison Square Garden. So, kind of excited for that, to see, what they're all about. I know they're not doing very well, but maybe this is the start. Always very, I've always said it's always interesting whenever an expansion team comes to your home arena, because it's kind of like, this is weird. You don't usually see them here, but this will be the first meeting, I believe, in franchise history for both these teams against each other. Rangers Kraken will be on Sunday, so Rangers tonight against the Wild. Knicks as well on tonight. against the Bucks on the road in Milwaukee. So going to be a tough one for them. They're still trying to find their groove. They're still trying to find their rhythm. They got to bounce back. I mean, right now the Knicks are not playing good. Julius Randle's not playing good. So they're going to have to figure something out before the season really takes a twist and, takes a spiral for the worst. And, this, ship right now is sinking. It's sinking. And right now they got to find a way to get right now they got to find a way to really get this thing moving in the right direction. Because if they continue to sink and sink and sink, forget about it. Their season's going to be really lost, and if they continue to lose. So, see if they can get back on track. Knicks in action tonight against Milwaukee. Rangers back in action tonight against the Wild. Henrik Lundqvist retirement night, and it will be 8 Eastern start to have all the retirement ceremony and stuff, so an hour usually back. Usually the game starts 7 Eastern. It will be an hour back to 8 Eastern tonight. You can find it on MSG Plus and NHL Network if you're interested. And the Nets have another day off today. They will be in action tomorrow night to start up a West Coast trip that will begin in Golden State and end next Sunday in Denver. So a big West Coast trip. We are not playing well right now. Kevin Durant is still hurt. Kyrie only playing road games, so Kyrie will be playing this trip. Harden seems to be okay with that left hamstring tightness. I don't buy into that. I think it was just a day off. So with all that, included, you hope that they can find a way to get a couple wins on this trip and not come out of it. I believe it's a 6-game road trip. You can't come out of this road trip 2-4 or 1-5. 4-2, okay. 3-3s, You can't come out of this trip like 1-5. If you do that, there's serious problems. So we'll see how all that plays out. But a lot to get to today on the podcast. As along with all the basketball and the hockey and the Henrik Lundqvist, there's 2 very big football games on this weekend. The AFC and NFC championship games are on this weekend. So let's get to the topics for today's podcast. It's a Football Friday podcast. Kind of a Football Friday. I'll give you my game picks for both games, and I'm going to get to a hockey topic. No, I'm not going to talk about Ben Roethlisberger today. I gave it some more thought yesterday and into today. I talked about Big Ben a lot over the past couple weeks, and I figured I'm probably going to be repeating myself if I talk about him yet again. So I'm going to talk about a different topic and something that's very big tonight in the world of hockey. But we're going to start off with the NFL game picks. Going to give you all you need to know, give you my 2 picks, and ultimately give you what I think is going to be the Super Bowl preview, and ultimately what I think is going to be the Super Bowl. I want a matchup to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I want a specific matchup to take place. I will tell you once I'm done with my game picks, because I am rooting specifically for 2 teams. I'm rooting for one team in the AFC, and I'm rooting for another team in the NFC. Clearly, there's only 4 teams left, 2 games, right? So I am rooting for somebody in the AFC, and I am rooting for someone in the NFC. It's not like I don't care. I do want to see these 2 teams make it. One of them I have making it, the other one I don't. So I'm going to give you my picks, going to give you what I think, going to talk about it, going to get to it. And I want you to comment down below your game picks as well, since it's only 2. Give me your picks. Give me your Super Bowl pick. This is like the biggest week of them all. If you can nail the Super Bowl correct and then get the Super Bowl game pick right, you're in pretty good shape. So I'll get to the game picks, give you all you need to know. I also want to get to Henrik Lundqvist's jersey retirement. All right, I want to talk about it. I know I've talked about Henrik Lundqvist a lot over the years. I know I've talked about the Rangers a lot and all that stuff, but Henrik Lundqvist, to me, is, such a special player and somebody that I loved watching, always enjoyed watching, night in and night out. Whether it was, in the postseason, regular season, whatever it was, he was a special player. He was a great guy. He was a guy very good in the locker room, on the ice, off the ice, was such a special player for not only the Rangers, but the city of New York and the rest of the NHL. So I want to talk about him and why specifically why him not having a Stanley Cup is not that big of a deal in terms of it doesn't hurt his legacy. He has already implemented his legacy in the biggest market in the world, and I'm going to compare him to a couple other athletes in terms of how he's impacted New York sports in such a big way. And I'm going to get to Lonquist, get to the Rangers, and just talk about his really, really great and all-time great career from Henrik Lundqvist, and then we'll finish off the podcast with the New York sports update. We got the Rangers tonight against the Wild. Nets, day off. They'll be back in action tomorrow night against the Warriors. Knicks, back in action tonight against the Bucks on the road. And the Islanders, after playing last night, they have a day off today. They took a tough loss last night, 3-2, at the hands of the LA Kings. Alrighty, with all that being said, very big podcast ahead. A lot to get to on this Friday edition of the BSN Network podcast. So, with all that being said, this is the BSN Network podcast, and let's get right into it. Alrighty, so this weekend we got two NFL games on. The AFC Championship game, NFC Championship game, AFC Bengals Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium, 3 Eastern on CBS. And the NFC Championship game will be Rams 49ers at SoFi Stadium on Fox, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, which will be the site of Super Bowl 55, which will be the site of this year's Super Bowl. So, super pumped up for that, super hyped for that. That should be a good game, super hyped for the Super Bowl. So I'm super pumped up for that, and hopefully we get a good matchup this year. I apologize. Did I say Super Bowl 55? I meant Super Bowl 56. I apologize. Super Bowl 56 is the Super Bowl this year. I think I said Super Bowl. I blanked for a second. Super Bowl 55 was last year. Super Bowl 56 this year. I always get mixed up with the Roman numerals. So the winner of these two games move on. Super Bowl 56, 2 weeks from Sunday in SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Gonna be exciting. Gonna be pumped for that, and super ready for it. By the way, going into this weekend, I'm 178 and 104 on my game picks. Last weekend, like I mentioned, I'm 2-2, so 7-3 overall in the playoffs. 10 games in, 3 more to go, and I'm at a record of 178 and 104. So the deal is, if I get 2 more wins, no matter how it is, I will be in. So 3 games left. I need to get 2 of the next 3 picks correct. So I need to get at least one of the games this weekend and in the Super Bowl, or I could get both this weekend. And if I get both this weekend's picks wrong, well, then I have no chance of getting that. So we'll see how everything goes. But my record, 178, 104 going overall. The best I could be is 181 and 104. We'll see how all that goes. Anyway, let's get to the picks, because 2 games, I'm going to go a little bit more deep into both these games than usual. 2 games, 2 excellent ones, 2 exciting ones. I know there's been that chatter this weekend about, this week specifically, about the possibility of these 2 games maybe not being as good as last week's games. And I'm kind of prepared a little bit to be maybe a little bit maybe whelmed, but there's also that expectation that when the Rams Bucks game was over last weekend, I remember I said to someone, I turned to them right away after the game, I was like, it's like this Bills Chiefs game, it's like can this game even live up to the hype? It's like this game might underwhelm, and boy, I was wrong. That was the best game I've ever watched. So I'm kind of expecting, in a way, maybe these games aren't as good as what the divisional round showed us. Divisional round was historic, in terms of how close those games were. But it's like the way this season's been going, there's been so many wacky things, in this season. So it's like, would it be crazy to see another wild weekend? I hope so. I love these games that when they're close. So we'll see how everything goes. Both matchups have the potential to be really close. It's just a matter of, can it happen? Because both matchups have potential of being really close and potential of being blowouts. It's kind of the way the matchups go. If the ball goes a different way, or a couple more plays are made, these games could be blowouts, but they also could be very close. I'm expecting close, but we'll see. Alrighty, so let's get to the topics, or not topics. Let's get to the games. First game up on the list here will be the Chiefs and the Bengals, the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes leading the Chiefs, Joe Burrow leading the underdog Cincinnati Bengals into hostile territory. Chiefs come into this game, they finished the year overall 12-5, and they are 2-0 in the postseason. Bengals finished the year 10-7. They are also 2-0 in the postseason. Both these teams playing wild card games. Chiefs defeated the Steelers and the Bills, and the Bengals defeated the Raiders and the Titans to get to this point. Chiefs come into this game 7-point favorites. The over/under is set at 54.5. This game goes on Sunday, January 30th, 3 p.m. Eastern, and this one will be on CBS. I would assume Jim Nance and I think Jim Nance's name, and what's his face? Tony Romo will be on the call. So those will be the 2 guys on the call, and those will be the 2 Those will be the two guys on the call for this game, I assume. I assume it will be Tony Romo and Jim Nantz in Arrowhead Stadium for what should be a very good matchup. And let's get to the matchup, right? Bengals Chiefs, right? This is kind of your matchup that not many people at the beginning of the season would have predicted. I mean, I think the Chiefs at the beginning of the season were definitely the team, to beat. A lot of people predicted them. I, for sure at the beginning of the season said, you got to watch out for Chiefs. And the reality is this, right? Everyone's saying this about the Chiefs and this about the Chiefs and saying, oh, this wasn't their year. At the beginning of the season, the reality is the Chiefs, just like we did with the Patriots, we're going to do the same thing with the Chiefs, right? Every year, we're going to try and find a reason to believe and buy into this verdict of, oh, this team's not going to be good, and they're going to turn it around. They're going to go deep in the playoffs. They're going to win championships. They're going to win Super Bowls. They're going to be successful. Patrick Mahomes is going to be great. All that stuff, right? All that stuff's included. And at the beginning of the season, everyone was, when the Chiefs got off to a bad start, everyone was like, oh, here, Chiefs stink, this Chiefs aren't that good. That was just a 2-year stretch. And that's simply not true. Because today, guess what? They're getting ready to host a home game against a Cincinnati Bengals team who also, at the beginning of the year, after last season going, 4-12, or was it 4-11-1? It was something like that. They, after last season, only winning 4 games, and Zach Taylor being on the hot seat going into last offseason, kind of got a pass for the Joe Burrow tearing his ACL, was able to come back for another year, and now Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are riding high going into this game. So two teams that at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the season, to start the year, nobody expected the Bengals to do anything. And then when the Chiefs started the year and started to play bad, people were like, oh, are the Chiefs going to have, is things going on here with the Chiefs? What's going on? And now look, both these teams who a lot of people, to start the year, we're hard on, did not believe in. Now both them stand here today, getting ready for a game on Sunday, which I think should be phenomenal. And, you got Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. The big thing in this game is offense. Who scores more points? Who's going to outscore the other team? That might sound like a Captain Obvious and, oh, yeah, of course, you got to score more points answer, but it's the truth. I mean, who's going to score the more points? Because this is what this game's going to come down to. It's going to come down to a lot of scoring, some deep passes, late in games, late drives, clutch possessions, making the most of every possession. If the Bengals play like they did last week, they're going to get blown out of water. But if they play like they had the majority of the season, they're going to put up a really good fight. And there's moments where if the Chiefs show any signs of what they showed earlier in the year, they're also going to get blown out. But if they play like they've been, it's going to be a close game. Right, neither defense for either team's by any means extremely, extremely solid. The Bengals are good, solid defense. Is it top 5 in the league? No, but they've definitely gotten up there. Their defense has been, maybe I should take back what I said. Their defense is very solid. Their defense is very good. And the stats show it, last weekend show it, 3 picks against Ryan Tannehill with full weapons, Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry. Whether they were full healthy or not, still, being able to stop that tandem of A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, I don't care how old they are, I don't care what their injury history is this season, stopping those 3 is not an easy task, and the Bengals did it, and, in the process of doing it, they picked off Ryan Tannehill 3 times. But you also got to look at the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are one of the leading offenses in the NFL. They scored 42 points last week, right? They scored 42 points both weeks to start the postseason, blew out the Steelers in the wildcard game 42-21, beat the Bills in the thriller last weekend 42-36. So it's going to be high scoring. There's going to be a lot of points. And for the Bengals, they need to find a way to contain Patrick Mahomes. They need to find a way, and I know that's hard, but they need to find a way to get some stops, to get maybe force a turnover. Do something. Because if this turns into a back and forth matchups, we've seen teams try. It just doesn't work. We saw the Bills last week try. They tried to outscore the Chiefs. They were terrible on defense, and they're like, you know what? We're going to have to win this game throwing the ball. Allen's running ability is going to have to be a big factor, and they didn't win. They weren't able to do it. So the Bengals need to really take an approach of put some pressure on Mahomes, right? Put some pressure on him. Run some blitzes. Because guess what? The Bills last week, they ran a whole lot of soft zones and a whole lot of coverages where there was a lot of receptions underneath, and guys like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce turned a 5-yard catch into a 15-yard game because there was a lot of space. The Bengals need to give the Chiefs minimal space. They need to really make Mahomes force those close throws with the possibility of getting a pick. just like they did last week with Tannehill. I mean, a screen last week for Ryan Tannehill was tough to connect. And for Joe Burrow and the Bengals, the big thing is this, and I continue to say this. If Joe Burrow gets sacked more than 5 times, Bengals don't win this game. If the Bengals want to win this game, they need to, number 1, protect Joe Burrow, and number 2, they need to, get open in receiving. Because like I said, number 1, protect Joe Burrow, and number 2, open up lanes for this running game. And number 3, protect Joe Burrow. And number 4, protect Joe Burrow. Number 5, protect Joe Burrow. They need to protect Joe Burrow. Protecting Joe Burrow and opening up holes for this running game is pivotal if they want to win this game. Because at times when you're facing up against a really good offense like the Chiefs, sometimes you need to change the tempo. Sometimes you need to run it, then just throw it every time. The Chiefs secondary is really weak. So if you protect Joe Burrow, he could have a field day on that secondary. We saw what Josh Allen and Gabriel Davis specifically did last weekend. Just imagine what Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, C.J. Uzomah can do to this secondary. I mean, the Chiefs' defensive front's really good, but you get to the secondary, they're a little banged up. And even when they're healthy, they're really not that good. Tyrann Mathieu, I expect to play, so maybe he'll play a factor. But he can't guard all 3 of those guys. He can't guard all 4 of them, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and C.J. Uzomah. He can't take care of all of them. Maybe 1 or 2 he could help. But this Chiefs defense is going to need to come to play. And look, I said it from the start, right? This is the matchup that I wanted to see. Or I take this back. I was rooting for the Bills last weekend, so I actually wanted to technically see a Bills-Bengals. But in terms of on the road, Burrow already went into a hostile environment and beat Tennessee. Already has done it a couple times this year. They did already beat Kansas City this year, and there's that old saying, beating a team twice is way harder than beating a team once. And specifically in the next game for the Niners, beating a team 3 times is extremely hard. Right, and the Niners did it twice already this year. Then they'll go into tomorrow or Sunday with an opportunity to beat the Rams for a 3rd time this year. And maybe they will. We'll see. I'll tell you what I think about that game coming up. But look, I said it from the start of the postseason. Okay, and you're going to know where I'm going with this right away. I understand the Bengals are 7-point underdogs. I understand Joe Burrow and this young team have really exceeded expectations and maybe overachieved a little bit this year. I get all that. I get there's people out there that believe this team is not this good. I think that it is. I think this team, you add an offense line, this team's a true threat. I understand that maybe the Bengals blossomed a year early than what a lot of people expected. I get all that. But guess what? I'm a guy that I stick to my word. I stick to my gut a lot of times. Sometimes I do change, but I'm going to stick with it. From the start of the postseason when they beat Vegas, I said, I think the Bengals have a chance to go all the way. And I said from here on out, I'm picking the Bengals. So I'm not going to reverse and step back now and say, take the Chiefs. I'm going to stick to what I said in the wildcard round, stick to what I've been saying for the past couple weeks. Whether the Bengals were 30-point underdogs or 30-point favorites, I was sticking with the Bengals. Once they beat the Titans, I said, no matter who the Bengals are playing, I'm picking. And do I feel so strongly about this pick? No, I think the Chiefs have a great chance. But I got to stick with my word. I got to stick with what I've been saying. Got to stick with what I've said all postseason. And that is, I believe, I am a believer. And right now, I'm rooting hard. And I'm really, really, really excited to see what Joe Burrow and this Bengals team can do. And if they get past Kansas City, whoever they face, whether that's the Niners or the Rams, watch out. Bengals, Jamar Chase, protect Joe Burrow, balanced offense, toast the secondary. Give me the Bengals on the road, Arrowhead Stadium, defeating Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs 31-28. Evan McPherson, game-winning field goal for the 2nd straight week in a row. Give me the Bengals 31-28. Bengals cover the 7 points, or give me the Bengals plus 7. And I'll take the over on the over-under of 54.5. And Bengals go on the road and upset the Kansas City Chiefs and destroy the hopes of the Chiefs going to a Super Bowl for a 3rd straight year. Give me the Bengals. Bengals plus 7. 31-28. Bengals win on the road. And the Bengals and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Zach Taylor are going to head to Super Bowl 56. All right, next game here up on the list is the San Francisco 49ers and the LA Rams. Rams got the win last week, and they finished the year 12-5. They beat the Cardinals in the wild card round and the Bucs last week. And the Niners have had to go on the road for the entire postseason. They are the road warriors. They beat the Cowboys on the road, and then most recently the thrilling victory last weekend, beating the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau in the cold on the road. Those are their 2 wins to get to this point. They finished the regular season, like I've mentioned many times, 10-7. The Rams come into this game a narrow 3.5-point favorites. The over/under is set at 45.5. This game is on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. NFC Championship game. Here, this will come on right after the AFC Championship game. AFC obviously on CBS. This one will be on Fox. And look, the big storyline into this game is Jimmy G, the Road Warriors, Deebo Samuel. Can the 49ers get another road win when they're the underdogs and nobody believes in them? And can they get to the Super Bowl? And the other storyline for the Rams is, can they avoid losing to the Niners not once, not twice, but for the 3rd time this season? Can they avoid that? Most recently, they lost to them the final week of the season. They actually blew, they blew like a 17-point lead. If you look at the Rams' schedule this season, they lost to the Niners 31-10 on Monday Night Football away. And in last week of the season, they blew the lead 27-24. They lost. They blew a 17-3 first half lead. 17-3 they went into the halftime 17-3. Just think about that. This is what's crazy about postseason. This is what's crazy about how the last week of the season could play out. The Niners were down 17-3 going into halftime. They were 30 minutes away from being eliminated. And Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints, who Sean Payton now stepped down, is no longer the coach of the Saints. He's still under contract for the next 3 years, but no longer the coach, got eliminated. And now we're talking today about a Niners-Rams, NFC Championship game for the right to go to the Super Bowl back at SoFi Stadium. And if the Rams win for the back-to-back year, for the second straight year in a row, the home stadium will be in. So the host stadium of the Super Bowl, the home team will be playing in. Last year, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Raymond James Stadium was the host. Buccaneers, as we all know, were in it, and they won it. This year, same thing. SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. Chargers and Rams home stadium. Chargers weren't in the playoffs. They didn't get there. But Rams home stadium, SoFi Stadium host. If they get in, they'll be in. So a lot on the line here and a lot of crazy stats because last year was the first ever time, I believe, a home team played at their home stadium in the Super Bowl. And the Niners were just 30 minutes away. We're down 14. We're just the second half away from not making the postseason. And instead, the Saints would take their place. And who knows? I mean, the what-ifs can continue. Would Sean Payton and the Saints made another deep run? Would they have had enough at the quarterback position? Who knows? That's a different story, different day. That could go down as a what-if. But either way, the Niners got to this point. And the Niners' motto has been Road Warriors. It's been a whole lot of, nobody believes in us. We go in and get the job done. And look, I tell you this, if the Niners, I understand they drafted Jimmy G. I understand they're buying into Jimmy G. But if Jimmy Garoppolo not only has a chance to get to the Super Bowl again as a starter, did it back in, as we all know, the 2019-2020 season when they lost to the Chiefs, got there though. He has a chance not only to get to another Super Bowl as a starter, but possibly implement the fact that he might be the starter again next season. Because if Jimmy Garoppolo and the Niners get to the Super Bowl, you can't tell me they're just going to trade him in the offseason and say, oh, Trey Lance, this is your team. You get a team to the Super Bowl, and let's say you win the Super Bowl, you can't possibly tell me you're going to bring in Trey Lance and just say, oh, Jimmy G, thanks for getting us there twice. Even if you won it, we're still going to rid of you. Jimmy G right now, not only is he playing for the Super Bowl, but he's playing for his job too. I mean, he likes his locker room. The locker room likes him. Deebo Samuel, many guys have spoke very highly of Jimmy G. And I think that's why the Niners have been so successful, is because they are such a close team. They're such a close bond. There's so many, they're all kind of come together. And we saw that with the Eagles, right? They were the underdogs. They were the team that nobody believed in. Nick Foles, nobody saw that coming. Guess what? They went in, beat the New England Patriots, who were heavy favorites, and look, because they were, it was a close group. It was a group that gathered around each other. It was a group that bought into what at the time Doug Peterson was preaching. And look, they were champions, and there's a statue outside of Lincoln Financial Field, right? Same thing here with the Niners. They're not the most talented group. They don't have that they don't have the Cooper Kupps. I mean, they do have Deebo Samuel, but they don't have, the electric quarterback, and they don't have the electric, they do have Deebo Samuel. So he is the electric player. He's one of the best players. I think he's the best dual threat player in the league. You can make the argument he's the best player remaining, just being given the fact that he can run the ball so effectively and receiving in the game, and in the postseason. And they're gonna have to use him. If the Niners want to win, they're gonna have to use Deebo Samuel, because we've seen it so many times. When the Niners utilize Deebo Samuel and they utilize him in different packages and different sets and throw him the ball and run him and give him the ball to run, they win the game. So for the Rams, it's not simple, but the Rams got to do what they did last week. And that's get stops, get off to an early lead, and finish the game. Finish the game. If you are the Rams, you need to finish the game. Because you blew the game against the 49ers the last week of the season. You almost blew it last week against the Bucs. You were just a couple minutes away from blowing it and having a Niners-Bucs NFC Championship game at Raymond James Stadium for the Bucs to go to another Super Bowl back-to-back years in a row. So if the key for the Rams is hold on to a lead, close out the game, don't turn the ball over with 3 minutes left, don't fumble when you're trying to juice the clock, and also don't get off to a 17-3 start and let Deebo Samuel and Jimmy Garoppolo completely run over you in the second half. And if the Rams don't do that, I think they can win. But the real question is can they do that? And look, I like the Niners a lot. I'm rooting for them a lot. I think Deebo Samuel is so much fun to watch. And Jimmy G, the story, and just going into this year, the rumors of maybe him not even playing at all because Trey Lance would take over, and the possibility of him getting to another Super Bowl and really, really getting himself in a Super Bowl and getting himself to be the quarterback for another year, and George Kittle, and so many fun guys, and a third-ranked defense in the league, and the story of the underdogs. I get all that, and it's a lot of it's awesome. It's great. Everyone's proud they beat America's team and the Cowboys, right? That's all great. It's such a feel-good story, and you love these stories in the NFL. But when you look at the Rams side and you look at the Odell Beckham, who's really lighted up and started to heat up, not only late in the regular season, but especially in the postseason. You look at Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, if Cam Akers can hold on to the football. You look at the secondary, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. There's just too many big threats for the Rams on the defensive side of the ball that ultimately I just don't think it's going to happen for the Niners. I'm rooting for them. I'm pulling for them. I want them to win. But at the end of the day, I think the Rams pull this one out. I think the Rams beat the 49ers by a score of 27-24. Rams win. Just barely. Give me a late touchdown. Give me a late touchdown by, I'll say Cooper Kupp. I'll say late touchdown Cooper Kupp, and there will be about 20 seconds left, and the Niners just won't have enough time to score. I got to admit, I've been debating this. I've been going back and forth about this. This has been the pick that has really bothered me. I mean, like I said from the start, the Bengals pick was easy. No matter if the Bengals were facing Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, the Niners, I still would. I mean, maybe not then, but the Bengals have said all along from the start of wildcard weekend. I said I'm picking them, and I'm riding with the Bengals the rest of the year. Pick them for the wildcard game, pick them for the divisional game, and I'm going to pick them again today. It was this pick that was really hard because I've picked against the Niners both weeks, wildcard and then last week against the Packers. So I feel like if I maybe it's good luck that I pick against them. Then maybe they get in. So the Niners fans, look, I'm taking the Rams. Maybe this is a good thing because every time I picked them to lose, they've won. So we'll see. But give me the Rams 27-24. I'll take the over on the over-under of 45.5. And I think the Rams don't cover the 3.5. Give me the Rams. So the Niners +3. Rams win, but don't cover the 3.5. Give me the Rams 27-24. A late touchdown by Cooper Kupp will seal the deal. Rams, Bengals is my Super Bowl prediction. I want Rams Niners. So for those of you who are wondering what I'm rooting for, I want to see Rams Niners. I apologize. I want to see Bengals Niners rather. Rams Niners, the NFC Championship game. I want to see Bengals Niners in the Super Bowl. I think that would be fun. I think it would be just be exciting. Two new faces. Like, it would be a lot of fun. But I think we're going to get Bengals Rams, which I'm okay with. But I think it would be cool to see two underdogs in the Super Bowl. But Bengals Rams is my Super Bowl prediction. By the way, Chiefs are 86% chance of winning. So Chiefs have an 86% people. No, 86% of people think the Chiefs will win, and 63% of people think the Rams will win. So I'm on board with a lot of people about the Rams, but I am in the unpopular vote, I guess, with the in terms of the Niners. And like I said, I do believe the Niners have a really good chance of winning this game, and I do feel like the Niners definitely can win this game. But I don't know. There's a part of me that I'm taking the Rams. There's just a part of me that I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I very well could see myself being wrong, especially when you look at a defense with, Warner and Bosa and guys like that, Arik Armstead and all those guys. But the Rams built this team just to win a championship, and I could just see them going all out for this game. We'll see. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy for either team. So Bengals, Rams are my two picks for the AFC. Got the Bengals, and NFC got the Rams. Alrighty, with all that being said, that will do it for the NFL game picks. Comment down below. Give me your two picks for the weekend's games. And then after this, you'll have the Super Bowl game pick, and that'll be it. Alrighty, coming up next, Henrik Lundqvist will be his jersey will be hung up in the rafters tonight at MSG. Will be the 11th Ranger to be inducted into the not inducted to be hung up in the rafters forever. He will be a part of Rangers history forever. Will be a part of Madison Square Garden forever. I want to get to his lustrous career, get to all of the high moments, and really just talk about Henrik Lundqvist's career in general, and where Henrik Lundqvist, you can compare him, and he's got a very similar career to a couple other New York athletes, and why not winning a Stanley Cup really isn't the biggest issue ever than what people really make it out to be. I'll get to Henrik Lundqvist and the Rangers coming up next. All right, so welcome back here up at the podcast here today. So as we all know, yesterday the Rangers took a tough loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets by a score of 5-3. And, every game you obviously, want to win. Your goal's to win as a fan. You want, your teams to win. But for me, it was a tough loss. It was tough watching. It was tough. It was just not a good game. It was just really frustrating. It was just not we were scoring. We were doing a lot of good things. It's just when you have a goalie that can't, stop pucks and do that, it's not going to win you games. And today, it's kind of funny. It's the complete opposite of what Henrik Lundqvist was able to do for the Rangers is what Alexander Georgiev did last night. And Georgiev last night was awful, and Lundqvist was one of the best goalies of all time. So, complete opposites from what we saw last night and what the Rangers and Rangers fans will honor tonight. And that is Henrik Lundqvist getting retired. And tonight, as we all know, second half of back-to-back last night in Columbus. Tonight will be at home, 8 p.m. Eastern, at the Garden. Henrik Lundqvist retirement night against the Minnesota Wild, who very good team. So not only is it Lundqvist retirement night, but it's a good team coming in. It's a Wild team that got guys like Zuccarello and Kaprizov and Cam Talbot. You got a nice little goalie tandem there. Igor Shesterkin will be in net tonight. So you had Georgiev of last night. You kind of took, the wounds, and tonight you want to go out and win, not only just because it's a big game and it's a good team in the Wild, but because it is Henrik Lundqvist night. You want to go out on a high note. You don't want to get blown out. You don't want to get blown out of the water. You want to go in. You want to play well. You want to perform well. When one of the greatest players in franchise history is getting honored, you want to go out and play like it, and you want to go out and play with a lot of energy and come out with a lot of energy, and that's what I'm expecting out of the New York Rangers tonight. And for tonight with the Rangers, you want to win, and that's the big thing. But the big thing going into tonight is not only just the game itself and the fact that, we want to win on Henrik Lundqvist night and all that stuff, but it's to honor and it's to remember and it's to really just take in what Henrik Lundqvist was not only able to do for the Rangers in terms of on the ice but also off the ice, and the leader he was and the mentor he was in the locker room. Because Henrik Lundqvist had an excellent career. He had a great career, and he will go down as one of the best, one of the best New York sports athletes of all time. The king of New York, as we all, like to call him, manning that net at, manning that net at Madison Square Garden for so many years since, getting drafted. And, he was drafted obviously in 2000, made his debut 2005-2006 season and, retired the 2019-2020 season. And his last game, his last kind of image, his last kind of, thing for Lonquist, and that's why tonight I think is so exciting, was in the bubble. His last game as a Ranger was in the bubble. And the whole COVID pause, and then, coming out and playing in the bubble, and nobody was really sure if it was going to be Lundqvist's last year. And that was the big thing. That was the big kind of point to it, is we never really, for such a great career that Lundqvist had, a guy that had one of the great, a great save percentage, a guy that only allowed about 2.43 goals allowed, and he's so, he's almost at the top of the league in wins of all time, and a 9.18 save percentage and 64 shutouts in his career. We never, as Rangers fans, got that proper send-off. We never got that proper final game, last time he's taken the ice in MSG. Sure, there was a last time, but we didn't know it. And we didn't treat it like it was. And tonight, with COVID hitting and him getting the heart condition and having to really end his playing career shortly after signing with the Capitals, then having to announce his retirement a couple months ago, it was like we never got that proper send-off. We never got that proper, thank you for everything you've done to the organization and this sport and this, in the city and the team and everything. We never got that as Rangers fans. And tonight we get that. And that's why there is so much excitement for tonight. And that's why there is so much energy. Me as a fan today, I've been excited. I've been waiting for this all week. I've been so excited. Not only just to watch this, but get to watch some Rangers hockey, again. And that's always great. And, we got to see, last night, like I said, wasn't good. But you get to watch some Rangers hockey on top of it. And, Rangers fans finally get the true send-off, the true thank you for everything you've done tonight. And Henrik Lundqvist deserves every single thank you out there. Because what he did for this team, for the city, for the hockey and NHL in general, was beyond amazing. And one of the things I want to say this, because there's been so many great athletes that have went through sports. So many great athletes, right? There's so many great athletes that have played sports. Whether it's football, whether it's baseball, whether it's whatever it is. There's so many great athletes. You go to football and you think of, Tom Brady pops up in your head. And you go to basketball and Michael Jordan and LeBron James pop up in your head. You go to baseball and so many, Hank Aaron's of the world, the Babe Ruths, the Joe DiMaggios, the Lou Gehrig's, all of them, the Derek Jeter, all of them pop up, the Mariano Rivera's, all of them pop up in your head. And you go to hockey, and, Lundqvist does, but, you go to the Gretzky's of the world, all the, the Wayne Gretzky's kind of the big guy that pops up in your head if you are a hockey fan, kind of just brainstorming and thinking of all the elite athletes. And if you think about it, what all those people have in common, the Gretzky's of the world, the MJ's of the world, the Brady's, the Montanas, they all have rings. They all have championships. And don't get me wrong, championships is great. And that's excellent. If you win a championship, that's great. And that's one of the greatest accomplishments of your career is a championship. But Lundqvist never got a championship. He was never able to. He was never able to get a Stanley Cup. He got there once. They lost in 5 games to the Kings. And, specifically, you remember the Game 5 in Los Angeles where the overtime goal was just slipped right through, the 5 hole. And, they didn't win it, and that was it. That was Lonquist's only chance, his only opportunity to get into the Stanley Cup and win it. And it just goes to show you how much of a great career he had. Is that's not the only moment people remember. It's all the highs, it's all the great saves, it's all the other memories, not only just in the regular season, but he was pretty darn good in the postseason too. And he was a huge, he still had a great series against the Kings. But when you think of some other New York sports athletes, Lundqvist is a part of a rare group that people remember. Not because, people remember because of the way they acted, because of the way they carried themselves, because of the way they were leaders, because of the way they stuck and were loyal to the organizations. And the 4 players I'm talking about are David Wright, Don Mattingly, Patrick Ewing, and Henrik Lundqvist joins that group tonight as just another memory or another memorable part of New York sports history. Because what do those 4 players have in common? Well, they've never won rings. Don Mattingly, through all the Yankees 27 times winning, he never got a ring. He never got a championship. As a matter of fact, through his injury, plagued and, the lockout and all that career, he only got to the playoffs once. And that one time, it fell short. Patrick Ewing, all those years of getting to the playoffs and getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and all that, always got stopped by Michael Jordan. Every year, Knicks fans believed this was our year, this was our opportunity. It never happened. He got there, it never happened. David Wright, getting to the playoffs and getting to the World Series against the Royals in 2015 was kind of like the final stand, the final opportunity. Never was able to get one. And Henrik Lundqvist, the same thing. In 2014, when they lost to the Kings, that was his only chance. That was his only opportunity. But it's what he represented off the ice. It's what he represents on the ice as well. That makes him such a great person. It makes him such a great athlete. And makes him one of the greatest New York sports athletes of all time. And truly makes him the king of New York. Because you want to know what all 4 of those athletes have in common? Not only did they all, play in New York, and not only did none of them have championships, but not only that, it's the fact that they all poured their heart and soul into their respective organizations. David Wright pretty much played until his body said, I can't go anymore. He had back issues, and he pretty much played until his back and his body said, look, it's over, it's time. But he gave it all he had up until the final game that he ever played as a New York Met. And walking off the field that night at Citi Field at third base was a great moment for Mets fans and a great moment for David Wright. And I'm saying that as a Yankee fan. But it's the truth. Don Mattingly too. Right, a guy who never won a ring. Never was able to really get that much of an opportunity. Through all the storied franchise history of the Yankees. And Jeter winning all the rings. And all those and all the Yankees players that have won championships. Don Mattingly wasn't one of them. And we don't remember him for that. What we remembering Don Mattingly is the leader and the guy that even through all of his plagued injuries and all, the lockout and all that, kind of just a bumpy career, he was always, happy. He was always out there. He was always did everything he could to try to help the team win. And he gave it all to the organization, was loyal to the organization. Never quit. He could have easily said, you know what, I'm leaving and I'm going to try to go to a team just to win a championship. No, he stuck with the Yankees. He stuck with the New York Yankees. He stuck with the team. Through all the injuries, through all the lockouts, he stuck with them. He was loyal. That's why we remember him. No, he did not win a championship, but the fact that he was loyal and the fact that he stuck with them was why we remember him as much as we do today. One of the more underrated baseball players of all time was Don Mattingly. You go to Patrick Ewing. What he did for Knicks fans was unbelievable. Was loyal to the team. Patrick Ewing could have easily said to the Knicks, hey, no, I'm leaving. I'm going to go join somebody else, or I'm going to try to create a super team with somebody else so I could stop Michael Jordan and get to the finals and win a championship. He didn't do that. He stuck with the Nets. He stuck with the Knicks. He was loyal to the team. Every single year, when Michael Jordan was like the tip of Mount Everest, every single year he tried to climb it. He got darn close. He never got there. He got close. And year after year after year, taking that jersey off after they lose to the Bulls and lose to the Bulls and lose to the Bulls. And every year, maybe this is the Knicks year. It never happened. but it's the fact of how hard he played every year, the fact that he was loyal, the fact that he stayed there is why I remember him. And now it's still to this day with Henrik Lundqvist. No, he never won a ring. No, he never won a Stanley Cup. But what he meant to the city, what he meant to the organization, just his overall, his ability, one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, his skill set, the way at times he put the team on his back and won many games for them. And it goes down as one of the winningest goaltenders of all time with 459 wins. Right? All of that is why we remember and why we will hang Lundqvist's jersey in the rafters tonight. And all four of those athletes have one thing in common. No, they never won. And whether Lundqvist won a cup or didn't win a cup, why he's such a legend in New York and why he's why he's remembered so much as the player he was is because of the way what he did to the organization. Was always a class act. Was always just there for the teammates, a mentor, a leader, through the highs and through the lows. When things got low, he could have, when they lost the Stanley Cup, he could have said, Lee, I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm going someplace else. No, he stuck with the team. He stuck with the organization. He kept trying to help and lead and mentor. And up until the very final game in the bubble against the Carolina Hurricanes, he was a leader. He was a guy that when he talked to the media was always so respectful. He was always he always was so professional about everything. And tonight, we honor that. And tonight, Lonquist will be a part of Madison Square Garden forever. As number 30, Lonquist, Lundqvist, will be up in the rafters and part of Madison Square Garden forever. And he will join names like Richter and Reeves and Gilbert, and Lundqvist will be added to that list. And he will be the 11th one. And he'll be up there for many, many years to come, and he'll be a part of the Garden forever. That's why we remember Henrik Lundqvist. And that's why you remember all those other athletes too. Because of the way they showed, loyalty and the way they, kept on coming back every year and every single season. And they were so good at what they did. No, they never won it all. But what they did and the loyalty and the leaders that they were, how good they were, that's why I remember them. Mattingly, we don't remember that one playoff stint in 95. We remember him for the fact that he kept overcoming the challenges and kept on coming back and kept on fighting. And, Lundqvist will become a permanent part of Madison Square Garden forever. And because he came to play. He came to play every single day. He came to battle. And he came every single day when he walked into that arena, whatever arena it was, home or away. He gave it his very, very best, all the way up until the end. And tonight, Henrik Lundqvist will be up in the rafters, number 30, in Madison Square Garden, forever. That is why we remember Henrik Lundqvist. That he will go down as one of the all-time greats, goaltenders in all of NHL, and one of the greatest New York sports athletes of all time. That is why we call Henrik Lundqvist the King of New York. And tonight, we will see it officially happen. And what I'm most excited for is to see how the crowd reacts. Because this is something that we've been waiting. We never got that proper send-off. Hey, all the teams get their proper send-offs, right? We never got that proper send-off for Henrik Lundqvist. It's unfortunate. COVID hit. Nobody expected that. We never got that proper send-off. Then his heart condition hit, and that's the reason he had to retire. But you look at it now, and, the opportunity to give him the proper send-off is so super excited, and I'm pumped up for it. All right, so let's get to the New York sports update here and get to this. As for today in the NBA, Magic Pistons, I'll give Pistons the win. Hawks Celtics, I'll give Celtics the win. Hornets Lakers, I'll give Hornets the win. Heat Clippers, give me the Heat. Grizzlies Jazz, I'll give Grizzlies the win. Nuggets Pelicans, give me the Nuggets. Pacers Thunder, I'll give Pacers the win. Trailblazers Rockets, I'll give Trailblazers the win. Spurs Bulls, I'll give Bulls the win actually. Suns Timberwolves, I'll give Suns the win. And Bucks Knicks, give me the Bucks. As for the NHL, we got 5 games on tonight. The four games outside the Rangers are the Penguins, Red Wings. I'll give Penguins the win. Avalanche, Blackhawks. I'll give Avalanche the win. Bruins, Coyotes. Give Bruins the win. And Capitals, Stars. Give Stars the win. Rangers, Wild. Like I said many times tonight, Rangers come in this game 28-12-4. Wild come into this game 25-10-3. This game goes on today, 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network. You'd also find it on MSG Plus. 6:30 p.m. Eastern will be the start of Henrik Lundqvist's retirement ceremony. So be sure to tune in for that. Super pumped up for that. That will be 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and then 8 p.m. Eastern will be Rangers Wild at MSG. And as for college basketball, no AP top 25 games. By the way, I'm energy. Lonquist getting retired tonight. I think the Rangers will come out. I think Igor Shesterkin's going to come out with a very inspired performance. Lonquist was very close with Lonquist, a mentor of his. So I definitely believe Igor Shesterkin's going to come out with a lot of energy and a lot of focus, and going to have a good game. As for fantasy basketball, I'm currently winning 676 to 635. Today I've got going Donovan Mitchell, Desmond Bane, Brandon Ingram, Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, John Collins, John Morant, Miles Bridges, and Kelly Oubre. Update on Donovan Mitchell is he's out. So Mitchell concussion is out Friday against the Grizzlies. Tim McMahon of ESPN.com reports. So he's out tonight. Brandon Ingram is questionable for Friday's game. So Ingram ankle is questionable for Friday's game against the Nuggets. Jim Eichenfer of the Pelicans official site reports. So he's questionable tonight. And Kelly Oubre is day-to-day. Oubre is questionable for Friday's game against the Lakers due to a left ankle sprain. So hopefully those guys, well, Donovan Mitchell's not playing tonight, but hopefully the other, hopefully Ingram and Kelly Oubre are in, and Donovan Mitchell comes back sooner or later. I don't know how true it is, but I heard a report, and I know that Knicks fans have been talking about it, but I heard a report for Donovan Mitchell that the Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz are a first-round exit away from Mitchell being a Knick. And I don't know how much I believe of that, because it's like part of me believes it, like part of me could say, okay, but there's always these rumors with the Knicks. Like every team, there's always that team in sports every year where they're going to get everybody. In basketball, it's the Knicks. Every year, everybody's like, oh, the Knicks are going to get this guy, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, this guy. When Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving going to the Knicks, they got none of them. And I mean, they could still get Donovan Mitchell, and I don't know what's going to happen with Damian Lillard, but he seems pretty content there in Trailblazers, but they never got anybody else. Oh, we're gonna get the number one pick and we're gonna draft Zion. Never happened. Baseball every year, every single season, and maybe it's just because I follow New York sports and stuff, so it's a lot of what I see. But every year, Yankees are getting this guy, Yankees are going out for this guy, Yankees this, Yankees that. Yankees recently haven't done much, right? Hockey, it's tough to say. Because hockey's a little different, like not as much, big salaries. Football, it's tough too. Maybe basketball and baseball. Football. I guess as a Jet fan, we always brainstorm all different types of possibilities. I guess football, you could say the Cowboys. Everybody's always or Cowboys players leaving. Like every year, there's always that rumor. Like Amari Cooper, maybe he's gone. No, he's not gone. There's always something around the Cowboys every offseason. They could win the championship, and there'll be some drama around them. There's always that stuff. So there's always those teams. So I don't know how much to believe of it, whether Donovan Mitchell is going to come to the Knicks or when. I mean, look, if the Knicks continue to fall and lose, they're not going to be buyers at the deadline. That's the reality. I mean, if they're 10 games, 15 games below 500 come the deadline, maybe that's a little pushing it a little bit. But if they're a good 10 games below 500, they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to have to just stay put and build in the offseason or go all in on this year, which I don't see why they would. Do you wait until the offseason and get rid of Donovan Mitchell? Or not Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle? Because if the Jazz are a first-round exit away, you're going to have to wait to see how the playoffs play out. And if they get out early, maybe Mitchell does want to go. I used, when I was a couple years ago, like even last year, I used to buy into rumors. I used to, and I'm going to end the pod in a second here. I'm kind of just blabbing on at this point. But I used to buy into rumors. Whatever I saw, I believed. Whatever I saw, I believed. I saw this guy was talking to this team, or I saw this team was interested. I'm like, oh, this guy's going there. And I've gotten to the point now where I'm just like, I'm going to wait and see how things play out. Donovan Mitchell going to the Nets, I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I'm just going to stand in the middle and see what happens. That's what I'm going to do. If I had to put money on it, I'd say he's not coming to the Knicks. But at this point, who knows? Because I tend to be wrong with a lot of times where guys sign. Same thing with the Ben Simmons at this point. I'm not going to sit here and tell you where Ben Simmons is going. Guess what? We'll find out what happens to Ben Simmons when something happens. All this Trailblazers and Damian, no. It's not happening. It's... James Harden, too. That was a whirlwind. I mean, where's James Harden going to go? Everyone was talking about that. And he came to the Nets. And I was like, all right, came to the Nets. I didn't like it at first. I started liking it, and now I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm getting tired of, James Harden right now. But, we'll see. We'll see how things go. NBA, there's always a lot more drama. There's always a lot. I think there's a lot of moves that should be made in the NBA that teams aren't going to make. Maybe one day I'll talk about it. I think there's a lot of moves. I definitely think that Russell Westbrook should not be a Laker come deadline. I think they should get rid of Russell Westbrook. That's not going to probably happen, but I think it should. And I can give you many reasons why. I think James Harden trading him for a big would not be a bad idea for the Nets. I would have no issue with that. It's not going to happen, but I don't think it would be a bad idea. Either way, that just was floating around in the news. The big story today is Henrik Lundqvist getting his jersey retired. 6:30 Eastern, the retirement ceremony. 8 p.m. Eastern will be puck drop between the Rangers and the Wild. Tomorrow, Nets will be in Golden State against the Warriors. Knicks tonight in Milwaukee against the Bucks. And on Sunday, Rangers also have a day game against Kraken on Sunday. But on Sunday, you got Bengals Chiefs at 3 Eastern, and 6:30 Eastern will be the Rams and the Niners. Both teams, winner of those, come Monday, we will find out who is in Super Bowl 56. The right to go to the Super Bowl, we'll find that out Sunday. Super excited. Very exciting weekend ahead. Enjoy it all. Starts tonight with the Rangers and Henrik Lundqvist and all that exciting retirement ceremony and all that good stuff. So everybody, as you all know, I take breaks on the weekend. So everybody enjoy another exciting weekend ahead full of great, exciting sports. College basketball tomorrow. Kentucky, Kansas should be a good one. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, I believe that is when that game comes on. So enjoy the weekend. Enjoy all the sports. Enjoy the football. Enjoy it all. I will see you all on the flip side. See you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.